Hello, welcome friends. This is me here, Kulbir, and with us we have today Eric, who's from Australia, and we're meeting in Lake Louise, which is in Alberta. And I was actually thrilled and excited to when I met Eric. He's actually, he's biking from Vancouver all the way to Alberta, which is about 1,000 kilometers plus.
More.
Exactly, because the route that's been taken, I guess, has been really circuitous, so it's been really a long ride, so to say. And so I was really excited and thrilled to meet Eric. And I requested him for an interview for our channel, and he was he said yes to it. So here we are. And so let's begin with asking Eric a few questions. Eric, first of all, tell us something about yourself,
Sure.
background about yourself, and then we'll begin with your trip.
Yep, my pleasure, and thank you for interviewing me.
It's our pleasure.
Yeah. Look, I'm 60 years old. I'm retired. I was a civil servant in Australia. I work with mostly young offenders, people who had got in trouble with the law in various different jobs,
That's right.
including as a mediator.
Right.
I've had my own small business in the past, associated with the tourism industry.
Right.
So I know a little bit about that too.
I'm sorry again?
I know a little bit about tourism too,
Right.
as a small
Right.
operator of a
Okay.
very tiny tourism business. Okay?
Okay.
My big passions are travel and combining travel to interesting places like Alberta and BC, British Columbia, with outdoor experiences like hiking and cycling and kayaking.
Awesome.
Okay? So that's a little bit about me.
Oh, that's nice. That's a pleasure to meet you.
Yeah.
And about yourself. We would like to ask Eric that what actually prompted him to, get started on this long, arduous journey from BC all the way from the western coast of BC all the way to Alberta, which is 1,000 kilometers plus. So let's hear from Eric about that.
Sure.
What was your inspiration about coming on a journey like
Sure.
that?
Well, it's actually...
And also, have you been on such a journey before as well, or is this your first time? So
No, this is
let us-
not the first journey of this type. Earlier this year, my wife and I did a cycling journey of about 1,400 kilometres.
Wow, that's amazing.
It was relatively easy compared to this one because
Right.
the distance was approximately the same, but it was in Germany and Denmark and the Czech Republic, so it was relatively flat compared
Okay.
to British Columbia and Alberta.
Right.
But yes, so only a few months ago I did a similar journey, this time by myself. And what prompted me, it's a bit of a funny story really, Kulbir. What happened was that Canada was always on my list of places I wanted to go to eventually.
Right.
But living in Australia and the shared heritage that we have, the Commonwealth and the link to Britain and the fact that we're both, very similar countries in many ways in terms of our
That's right.
culture and the way we operate.
Very right.
It was sort of like I pushed it back as one of the things that I could leave until, I was a bit older, and because it's always a safe place to go to, if you know what I
Right.
mean. Although I've since learned about bears, so it's not quite so safe as I thought. But anyway, I always thought I'd go to the more dangerous places in the world first and then leave Canada till later.
Right.
But what prompted this particular trip was I've got a younger son who's a bit of a homebody, and young Liam doesn't really want to go anywhere in the world, unlike his dad, except for one place.
Mm-hmm.
And he told me this one day, about 2 years ago, he said, the only place I want to go to is Canada.
Right.
And it was because he'd seen posters and seen pictures of the Rocky Mountains and stuff like that, and it inspired him. And I thought it was really interesting, and it got me thinking about Canada. And I started buying a few things, a few magazines, and I bought the Lonely Planet book on Canada. And I started thinking, no, there's some serious adventure here in Canada to be had.
Something waiting for you.
There really is something. There's some more inspiring hiking and cycling to do here. And then after the trip to Europe, I was fairly fit, and I thought, no, I'm going to do it. And the other thing that happened in the meantime was I went into my local newsagent and I bought a National Geographic magazine, the 10 best national parks in the world, and right on the cover was a picture of Lake Louise.
Wow. That's
And I
right.
left that on my coffee table for a while, and that just kept eating away, bugging me.
Right.
And then finally I thought, no, I'm going to book this airfare, I'm going.
Right.
So that's how it came.
Oh, that's nice. So you owe a thank you to your son as well.
I do. Thank you to my son, and thank you to National Geographic.
Right. Right. And prior to the interview, we were actually discussing with Eric about certain experiences that he had on his way and on his trip. I mean, so we would like to request him for those on this interview as well. That actually, what experiences, of kindness, generosity, warmth that he experienced in his trip from BC to Alberta.
Sure, Kulbir. Look, I think that's what surprised me. I knew approximately what would happen when I come on this trip, that I would have lovely experiences seeing beautiful nature and natural environments, and climb mountains and see glaciers and see beautiful lakes. Now, so that's all happened, which is true.
Right.
But what I didn't really...
No wonder we call it beautiful British Columbia.
Exactly, it truly is beautiful. And very inspiring. And so whilst I expected that, I guess what I didn't expect, and what was a lovely surprise, was the incredible kindnesses and warmth shown to me by Canadians, everyday Canadians. Not because there's $1 in it, not because they're serving me in a restaurant or a hotel, although some of those people were absolutely kind and lovely to me, but just ordinary people in their ordinary lives went out of their way to help me in little ways and sometimes bigger ways. And it happened nearly every day. Something would happen. And I started to think this really is a special place. So combined with the beauty, the physical, natural beauty, is this lovely generosity and warmth of the people. And it's blown me over. And in fact, Kulbir, as I told you before the interview, I've actually already planned and penciled in my next appointment with Canada, which will be April next year. So I'm coming back to see the spring. I want to see the snow on the mountains in Alberta and BC, and I want to experience more of the warmth of people, because now I know them. They're now becoming friends. I'm conversing with them via emails and phone calls. And when I come back, it'll be coming back to say hello to them as friends now.
Exactly.
Whereas I had no friends in Canada before 3 weeks ago. So now, what I could give you is, there's a lot I could tell you. There's so many stories I could give you. So I have to be brief. So I'll pick out two, only two.
Yes.
But there's far more.
Love to hear them.
Yeah. And look, I guess one of the first ones that happened to me was that I was coming up the roadway that goes between Spencer's Bridge and Merritt. And I think it's called the Nicola River Valley.
In British Columbia.
Beautiful, stunning day. It was a Sunday. And I'm following this road, and the traffic's quieter. I've left the main highway. There's not so many trucks anymore. I'm just having a gorgeous day out on the bicycle. I stopped by a First Nation community, the Thompson River people, which is still about 40 kilometres from Merritt. So I've still got a fair way to go. Because while I stopped, is I could hear these drums, and I could see, not quite see, but I could hear that there was some sort of festival going on in this community. So at the gate, I asked the people near the gate, look, is this a private function, or is this, the public welcome? And they said, no, you can go down, you can have a look. So I went down, and I met the loveliest people, this Indigenous community in this valley, the Thompson people, First Nation people, were having a powwow, a real powwow, not a tourist powwow, not one put on as a fake pretend powwow. This was the real deal. And I was witness to it. And first of all, I felt a little bit awkward, because although I was told I could go, I felt a little bit like I was intruding, as you do. But the people made me feel so welcome. And then the most amazing thing happened, Kulbir. As people were talking to me, they were saying, hi, and what's your name? And I said, Eric, and so on. And then the master of ceremonies, there's 200 or 300 people there, and I was definitely the only tourist there, and there weren't many non-Indigenous Canadians there too. Most of the people were Indigenous Canadians, First Nations people. And then the guy doing the master of ceremonies announces over the PA system, we have Eric here today from Australia.
Wow, that's so nice.
And welcome Eric. And he's ridden all the way from Australia. No, little joke. and it was... Okay. Kulbir, after this lovely welcome from the Thompson community, I left the community and rode, and they in fact invited me to stay for their feast. But I couldn't. I had to get going. I had 40 kilometres still to go to Merritt. And I was about 10 kilometres into that. And one of the participants, people that visited that First Nations gathering, stopped their car beside me and asked me if I'd like a lift.
Okay.
Because they were concerned it was late in the day and I was coming into dark. And I said no.
This was after the feast?
No, I didn't stay for the feast because I knew if I did it would be too late in the day. So I'd ridden off, but had the feast, and then these people in a car, and their names were Donna and Doug. And Donna and Doug stopped and inquired about, whether I wanted to lift, because it was getting late in the day and they were concerned that I'd be riding into the dark in a remote region. And I said, look, no, I don't want to lift because it would be cheating from my point of view, on a big bike ride. But then they said, look, have you got anywhere to stay in Merritt? I said, well, not really. I was going to look for a hotel or look for a campground. They said, well, you're welcome to come and stay at our house and sleep on our couch if you like. Okay. And that's what happened. I did. Okay. And I had the loveliest time. And then now Donna and Doug are really good friends. And we email each other all the time. Right. And they're the most wonderful people. Right. And so that's one recent friendship, but a very deep one. It will become a very deep friendship, and they're lovely people. And so that's one. The other one that I would give, just briefly, is where a gentleman was just talking to me in conversation, and gave me some advice about a campground being open where I was going to that day. Right. I rode off. He drove off, and I rode off. And then about 3 hours later, when I thought I only had about half an hour to go to get to this campground, suddenly I see his vehicle coming back and stopped on the side of the road. Right. And the gentleman had come back, his name is Richard, and Richard had come back 15 kilometres from his town to tell me that he'd just found out the campground had closed the day before because of things closing down as we go into autumn and winter here. Okay. And he was concerned about that I would get there and find the campground closed and have no option to camp. Okay. And so he invited me to come to his house too. Right. And I ended up staying in his lounge too. Or not, actually I've got a bedroom in that one. So I stayed in his spare room. And again, we've become friends as well. So there's just two examples, and I could give you 30 more. Right. Wow. I've been more than 30 days here, I can give you 30 more, quite easily. Right. Yeah. So they're very wonderful experiences.
It's amazing to hear the warm experiences by Eric, by warm people.
Right. Ordinary Canadians, just being kind-hearted. Right,
Eric, can you share some challenges that you had on the road, and kind of, because that's going to serve as a sort of a, flagship for the other people who might embark on certain journeys that you did. So what with technical challenges on the way?
Okay, well, as a 60-year-old guy, I was a bit unfit. Being unfit and being a bit overweight was one challenge.
You're not overweight, and you're not unfit, because a person who's unfit would never do that. You certainly are the fittest person, I would say that.
Well, I'd say I was partially fit, Kulbir, but I'm a lot fitter now. After 4 weeks and 1,400 kilometres, I'm a lot fitter now.
Keep it up.
And that's a good thing. And that's part of the reason for doing it, of course. But look, I guess the worst thing that happened to me on this trip was I actually lost my glasses. The glasses you see me wearing tonight are my spare glasses, which I bought in case I lost my glasses. Right. And all the travelling I've ever done in the world over the last 30 years, I've always taken my spare glasses with me, and an older pair, in case I lose my glasses. And I never have until now. And I actually lost my glasses climbing some really steep hills on this trip. And just stopping on the side of the road and having a break and having a drink of water, and I somehow managed to drop my glasses and lose them, and then realised later, went back and searched them, wasted 3 hours trying to find them, gave up in the end, and lost a nearly new pair of glasses worth a lot of money, plus I'm wearing an old prescription now, which is not as good. So that was probably the biggest challenge, actually, of the whole trip. Right.
We'll conclude with your message to the people, because what I see from your trip is that there's a big connection between your trip, that as I can feel the perspective, between your trip and future people coming in here as a sort of an adventure.
Sure. Well, Kulbir, look, my message would be, I guess, two messages. A brief one to anybody from overseas who hasn't done it and who's at all interested in cycling, seeing the outdoors, getting fitter, losing weight, is just do it, like the Nike ad. Just do it. Just come to Canada and do it, because you'll have a ball. You'll see beautiful, wonderful outdoor places. You'll experience lovely, warm people, and you'll have a great time. Right. And you'll never regret doing it. Right. Okay? Yeah. My message to Canadians and to people in the travel and tourism industry is this. Yes, the big glossy campaigns with TV ads and posters and all that sort of stuff are obviously important in tourism. But I think the real guts of tourism in a place like Canada is what I've experienced, which is the combination of an incredibly beautiful, wonderful country physically, but the combination of that with this lovely warmth and kindness and just humility of ordinary people wanting to help you.
Right.
And that just sticks in the psyche. And I have already told so many people by email and phone calls in Australia about what's happened to me.
That's right.
And already I know of several people that are my friends and family members who are now saying, we're going to come to Canada. And that's what happens, Kulbir. You get a multiplier effect. And okay, my trip here, maybe I spent, say, let's say $7,000, $8,000, $9,000. Okay, that's gone into your economy. That employs waitresses and waiters and hotel people and you know, all sorts of people in shops and so on. You know, people get jobs out of this. It's serious money.
Yeah.
Okay. If Eric talks to 10 or 15 people or 20 people and tells them how wonderful Canada was, and 5 of them come to Canada, and each of them spend 10,000, there's another 50,000.
Exactly.
And if each of them do the same thing, it just grows exponentially. That's my message. That actually we should encourage that. They should think about trying to encourage that warmth and kindness stuff. I don't think they have to work too hard to do it.
Right.
They just need to give recognition to people that stopping and helping the stranger, the traveller, is so worthwhile at every level. It's worthwhile at a personal level for the people that do it.
Right.
They feel good because they've helped someone, but it's also worthwhile for this nation and this tourism industry.
Certainly, yes. I agree there.
So that's the sort of message I give. Keep on doing what you do so well.
That's right. That's right.
Because it's really bloody fantastic. To
Right,
borrow an
exactly.
Australian
I agree
expression.
there. Yeah. Thank you, Eric. Thank you very much indeed.
My pleasure.
Yeah, thank you very much. And basically, I've really personally also benefited from his experiences, and of course, I'm sure our viewership of these videos will also benefit from what Eric had to share with us, and with his awesome experiences, awesome attitude, and his awesome praise for other people as well, especially Canadians, us here. So thank you very much, Eric, and we look forward to have you here next year.
It'll be my pleasure to come back. And can I give a thank you to our lovely cameraman from New Zealand,
right?
The incredible Russell. Thank you, Russell.
Russell, if you don't mind, I'll just hold the camera for you and just turn the camera to your side and have you in the picture as well. Thank you. So here's Russell from New Zealand.
Hello, how you doing? I'm from New Zealand. Lovely to meet you, and it's been a pleasure filming this interview.
Thank you very much, Russell. Thanks, Eric.
My pleasure.
Thank you, all of you. Thanks. Bye.
Okay, thanks, Cole.